feel about the school's financial situation?
The financial situation, the district is in pretty good shape financially, and they have been, I would say, they traditionally have been very careful about expenditures. They try to do things in-house, so to speak. They're not frivolous in their decisions. They're very frugal with the taxpayers' money. They're very conscientious about how the funds are allocated, and they are to be commended. The district is in pretty good shape financially.
Great. So can you share with us why you think education is so important?
What a question. What a question. Okay. Your life and the joy and all of the things that you will do after you get out of school and make your way in the world all depend on, I used to have a little saying that hung in my room on the wall, and it said, the things that matter are the people you love and the things you know. That's really what matters in life. And people have a lot to say about who they love, of course, well, your parents and your siblings and all of that. But the things you know, that's going to make the difference between a person having a good, satisfying, happy life and one who struggles, perhaps. So we've got to, when we have these kids in our buildings and in our classrooms, we have to make sure that we provide the very, very best for them. So when they leave, they are ready, and they're ready to either go to work, go on to school, or whatever the next step is. But it all depends on education, and you can't minimize it, not for a moment.
Thank you. Changing gears just a little, and we're going to go back to the Initiative 1351 that you mentioned earlier. How do you see Ephrata's school district implementing the smaller class sizes? I know you touched on it before, but are we talking a new high school, new middle schools?
I don't think a new high school, and I'm not sure about the middle school. There are implications for lowering those class sizes. Right now, the class sizes are pretty good. The numbers are pretty good in the Ephrata School District, but they don't comply with that 1351. And I know that the school board has looked at, if it were to be fully implemented all the way through, K through 12, it would require something like 30 new classrooms, something like that. That may not be correct, but really a sizable number. So yeah, how are they going to manage it? But of course, it really all depends on the funding from the state. And if the state is not forthcoming with money, then it's highly unlikely that but the people, the voters have spoken loud and clear, and they said, we know the research is out there, small class sizes make all the difference in a child learning and having the best shot at it. So it's something the district is definitely looking at. They know it's on the horizon, and the school board is already beginning to look, and they're not going to wait until the last moment when suddenly it's here, and now where are we going to put these kids? We don't have the classrooms. So they're already looking, and they're to be commended for that.
All right. So how do you feel about the Washington State Supreme Court's decision on McCleary versus the state of Washington?
I think that it's a good decision, and I think the legislature has been derelict in not fully funding basic education. And I completely agree with the decision. And it's interesting because now, since August, that the Supreme Court has said, not only are you in violation, we are going to fine the legislature $100,000 a day until you can figure out a way to remedy this. And the governor has appointed a bipartisan committee made up of half Republicans, half Democrats, to take a look at how can we figure out a way to provide more funds out of the state budget. And they are meeting now, and they're supposed to have a report to present to the governor in November. We will see. Now, the $100,000 a day, even if this continues clear until the legislature reconvenes in January is only a few $1 million total. That hardly is going to make much of a dent in what is needed. But the Supreme Court has made it very clear. You cannot expect school districts to provide, when there's such disparity between wealthy districts and those that have less resources, you cannot expect that every district is going to be able to provide the same kind of education for its kids. So the legislature has got to come up, they've got to come up with a way to more fully fund education. I completely agree with the decision.
Okay. How much outreach to the community do you think the Ephrata School Board should either improve on, or do you think they're doing a pretty good job, or do you think they're putting their hand out there a lot, not being heard?
I'm glad you really asked this question. That's a good question. I think that over the years I've gone to many school board meetings, and I can just about count on my two hands how many times people from the community come to school board meetings. So you talk about outreach. Well, the number one outreach for the school board is to make sure that meetings are, and of course they advertise and people know when they meet and so on. You can go on the district website and find out when the meeting is. But people need to, I always am amazed when I go to a school board meeting and I find out so much information. And yeah, sometimes it's a lot of educationese, but often it's very informative. And honestly, besides the city council in any local area, I think the one elected group of people that has the most impact on more people in the community is the school board. So it's always a mystery to me as to why more people aren't paying attention. And there's always a reporter there, sometimes somebody from iFiber and sometimes from the local paper, and there's always a follow-up report that makes the papers. But it's just the school board could do a better job somehow of involving more people in the community as to what they're doing, and involving them in certainly making them aware of what they're doing.
Okay. Well, we're down to the last question. This is one I always like to ask everybody who's running for election. Sometimes they think I'm a little mean with it, but I think it's a great wrap-up question. Why should people vote for you?
I have got the experience as a teacher and as a parent and as a supervisor of student teachers. I have been around long enough to see education reform from the beginning to where we are now, and I have that to offer to the constituents of this community. I remember when I was a brand new teacher in the Pasco School District in 1969, and I signed my contract, and my principal welcomed me into the building and said, "The books you need are over there," and shook my hand and said, "Have a good year." And I proceeded to go into my classroom and shut the door, and there I was. And now things have changed so radically. There is this wonderful collaboration that goes on in buildings between teachers that makes a huge difference in the outcome of education. And I've seen it, and I want to be able to share my knowledge and my experience, and I think I'm a very good person to be able to do that.
All right. I want to thank you, Lois, for your time and coming in to talk with us. iFiber One News has more episodes on other county elections for this November. Be sure to watch them all before you vote, please. For iFiber One News, I'm Bill Stevenson.